Okay, so this is my sun and moon demonstration. Um, Give me a second. I'll point out the different parts here. What we have is this guy is a, I think it's a 3 times magnifier from a dollar store. It's, yeah, I mean, it's a Fresnel lens, right? But it's like a $3 Fresnel lens. And what I've set up here is I want a system where the shadows of the sun from my artificial light source here, this is a light bulb. I painted it dark on, or metallic on sides. I'm not sure if it works particularly well to make this part brighter. But it shines light out here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this at the focal point of our Fresnel lens. And what that's going to do is it's going to take all these diverging rays and make them parallel. Because when I'm in a classroom setting, I want to be talking about the shadow of the sun, the shadow of the moon on the moon, making the different phases as the moon goes around, and to illustrate that. And part of the problem here is that it's kind of a 3-dimensional process, but it's hard to illustrate to students who aren't maybe used to thinking in 3 dimensions. I use this in my introductory to astronomy course. So there are 2 other parts here. There's this guy. This is a little stand. This is our stand for our Fresnel lens, but also it's got this this rod coming out through it. So this goes down on top of the rod, and then the time of month is determined by, or sorry, not the time of month, the position of the Earth in orbit around the sun is determined and changed by moving this. Basically, the tilt of the Earth's orbit, the moon's orbit, is determined by this little slanted slope here. I bought 2 styrofoam balls from the dollar store. I've got this guy, and I painted them. Well, I guess I didn't paint this one, but the moon kind of looks like that anyway. And then there's, this is an armature I made for this guy. It's at an appropriate distance. The main constraint here is that the rays of light have to be within this 8.5 inches of our lens system here. So because of that, I needed to design the angles and the distances from the center, but also mindful of things like the radiuses of the balls here. I needed to design all of it in order to fit in this 8.5 inches. So I think the angle here is actually much steeper than the angle of the moon. Anyway, so you put this armature on here like this. It's kind of supposed to waggle like that. It has a little counterweight that we glued on here. I think the prints that I'm making public have a little room for you to put weights in as it prints. And then the Earth. So the deal is that on this, the moon will go in a circle over the course of the month, but the center of the moon changes, the center of that circle changes as we rotate around from year to year. So so one time of the year to the next. So for that reason, the center of the circle is going to change. It's going to rotate around like this. So we've got the Earth is also on an armature. All right, let's turn this lights off so that we can see how well it works. Ah. Ah. All right. Okay, so as you can see, the point to this is that the lensing system casts a nice shadow on both of these, and both the shadow on the Earth and the moon is kind of parallel in exactly the desirable way. So you can say things like, okay, well, right now, the moon, the side of the moon facing the Earth is completely in light of the sun, and so it looks like a full moon. Let me see, you gotta modify this like that. All right. Right now, the Earth sees, the side of the moon that the Earth sees is half full. And then you say, okay, well, right now, the moon sees the side of the Earth. I think I've got it at a, here, hold on. It's kind of, So now it's a new moon. The advantage of this, I think maybe when I designed it, I was supposed to use a smaller ball than this. You can try it with different sized balls here. We're really trying to work within the constraints of this 8.5 inches here. Yeah, so the overall purpose of this is that the moon is not going to pass through the Earth's shadow all the time. Let's see. Okay, so it's supposed to be over here. All right, so the moon isn't going to pass through the Earth's shadow. I guess it does. I guess I failed as an individual here. Let's see if it does now. Or maybe I've got it backwards. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. So the moon doesn't pass through the Earth's shadow. It goes above and below it as it goes around, which is why you don't get a solar eclipse, or a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse. But there are arrangements of this system where it will pass through the shadow of the Earth, and you can use those to talk about eclipses. Is this right? It's supposed to be over here. This is all kind of hard to do one-handed, and you might, when in the classroom, kind of cheat things with your fingers like this. So, but you can say, yeah, okay, so now this time of the month, the orbit of this weird inclined plane of orbit is going to pass the moon through the Earth's shadow, and that's a lunar eclipse. And similarly, you can pass the moon, the Earth through the moon's shadow when it's a new moon, and you can talk about solar eclipses like that. Anyway, this is my really cheap model. It's got a whole bunch working for it, yeah, you can revise it however you like. The kind of purpose of this is to kind of illustrate the three-dimensionality of the system. I found first-year students who aren't physics majors sometimes have a little bit of trouble imagining the three-dimensional aspects to this that are really foundational to understanding the phases of the moon. So, you know, a picture in a book isn't going to cut it. They look at the pictures in the book and they're still misinterpreting it. But I got a little bit better reaction by using a three-dimensional model.